Okay guys, so we're gonna show you how to make histograms today. So that's really the topic. So later on, you're gonna see a couple of slides that will show you like what your notebook should look like, because I went ahead and just took pictures of what my interactive notebook looks like. So basically what I did is I made a flipbook for you to show you the steps on how to create a histogram. So let's just get on with this. So the first thing that you need to do is really figure out how many intervals that you need to use, and that stuff is really super easy. First thing you want to do is just count up all these data points. And so if you take a look at that actual table of data points, there's 20 of them. And then what you want to do is just take the square root of that number. So we're going to take the square root of 20. Okay, so just 20 data points. The square root of 20, it is basically about 4.5, 4.47, 4.5. So what we're going to do is just round that up and just say that's equal to 5. So we're going to have about 5 intervals to start out with. Okay, so that's your first step. So just take all your data points, count them up, see how many they are, take the square root. And guys, this step, this is just an estimate. Okay, it's just a guide to show you like how many intervals you could have. We could always go above that amount. I wouldn't really go below 5 though. So we could go above, but 5 is just a good starting point, and then we can just take a look at the data a little bit later. Okay, so next step would be to figure out what the actual interval width is. Okay, so you're gonna take the range. So what you have to do, basically find the range. So the range is the largest, so the max minus the min. So it's your maximum data point minus the minimum data point. So the biggest data point we have here is 24, and then the smallest we have is 4. So we just take 24 minus 4, we get 20. And then the interval width, what that is it's your range, which would be 20 divided by the number of intervals. So the number of intervals is from the first step. We calculated that to be 5. So we're going to do about 4. So, and again, this is just an estimate. Alright, so it's just a guide. There's no like 100% method of doing this. Okay, so these are all just estimates just to help you create these things. So we can go on. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually construct a simple table. So we came up with, what you call it, 5 intervals. So you can see I put 5 rows. So this is the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. And then the interval width, we said it should be about 4. But what I'm actually going to do to make this work, I'm going to say, let me change colors. I'm going to say 0 to 4. Then I'm going to say 5 to 9. Then I'm going to say 10 to 14. Then I'm going to say 15 to 19. Then I'm going to say 20 to 24. Oops. Let's just erase that. Go back. Okay, so if you look at the actual width I actually used 5 because I think that would make a little bit more sense. So again, I mean, you could just play around with it. We calculated the interval width to be 4, but I pushed it up 1 to be 5, and that's totally cool. So now what you do is you just tally. So the first number in this list is 4, so I'm going to put 1 tally mark for 4. Next one's 14, so I'm going to put 1 tally mark for 14. Next one's 24. I'm going to put 1 for 24. So you guys can just do that yourselves. I'm just going to fill the rest of it in. So there's two numbers in the list that are in between 5 and 9. 2 that are in between 10 and 14. A total of 5 that are in between 15 and 19. And then I had 10 actually in between 20 and 24. Okay, so you have 1, then you have 2, 2 again, 5, and then 10. Okay, so this is step 3, just constructing a frequency table basically. Okay, that's that. So we'll go on to the next step. So you can see I just copied down that same exact table we just did. So step 4 is really to create your graph. I also combined this slide with step 5 because we're going to construct the histogram as well. So the instructions got cut off, but if you use your flip book, what you want to do is label your axes. So what I would do is put frequency on the y-axis first. So I'm just going to go by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then up to 12. And then I'll just draw the bars. Okay, and you want to make the width of the bars um, pretty much the same. I know that could be hard sometimes when you're doing it by hand. All right, and I'm not gonna like take points off because the bars aren't the same exact width. I'm not gonna be crazy specific where you have to use a ruler or anything like that. So we're just gonna not be super 100% nice on this and just freehand draw this stuff. So for 0 to 4, switch up the color. The frequency was 1, so I'm just going to draw this like halfway in between. Okay, and then I'm just going to say 0 to 4. Yay. Okay, for 5 to 9, the frequency is 2. So you can switch up the colors if you want to, or you can just leave them the same. There's not going to, whatever you want to do is fine with me. And then I'm just going to put the frequency 5 to 9. Sorry if it's a little sloppy, because I'm just using the tablet on my computer for this. Do the next one, which is 10 to 14. I'm going to switch up a color, though, because it's actually the same number. So we could just distinguish these a little bit. So then just write the actual interval down below. And then the next one, we'll switch the color again. Went up to 5. So we're going to go up to 5 as best as we can. And then just write, kind of squeeze in 15 to 19 here. And then finally do the 20 to 24, which actually went up to 10. Okay, so it's kind of sloppy, but again, it's just working with the tools I have. But there you have it. There's your histogram, and then you can actually color in. You can color these boxes in if you want to. It's up to you. So that's how you do this. So we go on to the next one. I'm just going to show you what you should have in your interactive notebook. So the first thing that you should have is this flip book. Okay, so you want to cut the steps, and then you should be able to lift the steps and then read the actual instructions on what to do. Okay, the next one, here's the example that I just did, so you can see it looks a little bit nicer from the ones that I actually did on paper. So it's the same thing that I just went over. You have another example with the Apple stock prices. Okay, so for this one, there was 20 data points again, so it's the same like amount of intervals as the example we just did. So it would be 5 intervals. This time to figure out the width, the width of each interval should be. The highest data point was 128.47. The lowest was 123.25. So when you subtract those, you get 5.22. You divide it by 5. So that's this right here below. 5.22 divided by 5 is 1.04. So it looks like when we set up our intervals, it should be about like $1.04 or somewhere around $1. So if I took a look at my data, I noticed that $123 was the lowest like whole number amount. 128 was like the highest whole number amount. So what I did is I just went like 123 to 123.99 and then 124 to 124.99. So I just finagled those numbers because it makes sense a little bit more monetarily. So then you can see I just calculated the frequencies. So for anything that was $123, there was 3. There's 4 for anything that had $124. There was 3 for 125, 4 for 126, 5 for 127, and then 1 for 128. And then I went ahead and actually graphed the frequency table here. So again, like these first 2 steps, they're just an estimate to help you. And then you can play with that. So just play around with it. So it's okay if we have something different as long as it makes sense. So next thing that we would do is the U.S. presidents. I actually added President Donald Trump. So what this represents is just like the age of the presidents when they were inaugurated. So I added Trump. He was actually 70 years old, so he's the oldest inaugurated president. I just set up my frequency table. For this one, it says with a width of 4 starting at age 40. So I did that. I actually did a width of 5. So if you do like 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, that made a little bit more sense to have a couple intervals for you so you can see. The graph's roughly symmetric. If you take away Donald Trump, it's nice and symmetric, pretty much. And then the last one, if you add Trump, there's 45 presidents, so 34 out of 45 was 75.6. But that's pretty much it. So the next class, which would be Monday, I won't be there like either that day. You're gonna have a quiz, guys. Just study these guys for the quiz because the quiz questions will be very similar to those. So if you can do those on your own and you're comfortable, you'll be fine. The quiz is open notes, so I wouldn't really worry about it too much. Just make sure you answer the questions. Don't forget to, like, if there's two question marks, those are two questions, and answer both of those, because that's the biggest problem I see amongst question styles like this. It's just kids get points taken off because they don't answer everything. So anyhow, hopefully this is cool. We can clear things up on Tuesday or Wednesday when I see you guys again. So take care and have a good weekend.